everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make these cute little snow couple using thrift store sweaters. Alright, so for this project I'm going to be using thrift store sweaters. You can use sweaters that you already have in your own home. You don't have to go to the thrift store. If you do, make sure you wash them really well. You just follow the instructions on each of the sweaters or whatever fabrics you happen to grab from the thrift store to do this project. Now, for this particular project, I'm going to be using the sleeves from my sweaters. So I'm going to take all of the sleeves and create my little snow people. So let me show you what else I'm going to use for this project. Okay, other than using the sleeve on our sweaters to do our snow people, I'm going to use some assorted fabric scraps that I happen to have here. I have a nice little packet here that I bought from Walmart. You can grab them from wherever you want. I also have some ribbons. I also have these other ribbons that have a burlap finish to them, so I could use those if I wanted to. I have another little trim here. I have some yarn in case I want to use that. Maybe some googly eyes, some different colored felts to create the eyes if you don't have the little googly eyes. Or you can just use the fabrics that you have. I am going to also use this stiffy black felt to create a top hat for one of my snowmen. The other two that I think I'm going to make will just have little kind of like sweater like little beanie hats. I do want to mention, to create my snowman, I'm going to be using scissors. I'm going to be using my hot glue gun. I could also be using some fabric glue. Maybe you want to put together your little snowman and then use some fabric glue. Let the kids help you out with that. Also, what I don't have here on the table, I will be using some polyfill. That is to stuff the arms to create my snowman. Okay, so let's get to crafting. Okay, as I said, I was going to use the sleeves here for the snow people that I'm going to do. So I cut them off of two of the sweaters because they had the longest sleeves on them. And I decided that I would like to use this one for the body because it's a shaggier, fuzzier, and it kind of looks more like what fluffy snow would look like. Now I know they're not really white, they're a little off-white, they're not quite like a snow would be, but I still think it's going to work. So I'm going to save this one on the side for now because I will use a bit of that. But I'm going to take these two first, and what I want to do is I want to cut them straight. So I want to cut this part at the widest point that I can. Just cut straight on these. Alright, so then we're going to take needle and thread, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and thread this, but what I'm not going to sew it down like this to close it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the thread all the way around here and then pull on the thread so it tightens it up. Because I don't know if I'm going to have the seam in the back or on the side. There is a seam here on the sleeve part. There isn't any over here. So, I mean, you could sew it like this, but I really want that little poofiness at the bottom so it kind of rounds up at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to do that to both. So I'm just going to get a needle, like I said, with some long enough thread in it, and go in and out, in and out, in and out, all the way around, and then pull on the thread to tighten it. Okay, so I'll be back with that. Okay, so I've come to the end here where I've met up where I started. So I'm just going to pull on the thread as tight as I can. I don't want to tear the thread, but I do want to pull it as tight as I can. And then knot the thread so it doesn't become loose. And then you want to just kind of push it through and back in several spots to make sure that it is sealed at the bottom. Okay, so then when you feel like you've done enough of that, then just make a knot and tear off your thread. Okay, and there we go. I've turned both of them inside out. Now I want to take enough of this polyfill. This is for, filling up like, little figures, little stuffed animals and such. There's a little pattern for a fish in the back. But this is what it's for. I also went ahead and I looked for something that I could put at the bottom to kind of weigh it down so that I could get them to kind of stand up. So I found these little white pebbles, and I know that I got this bag probably at Dollar Tree because not recently, but I remember in Probably during the summer I had purchased these. I don't even remember if it was this year or last year. But I'm going to take a little bit of this first and put it at the very bottom. So just work your way in there and get it there at the bottom. Because I don't want it to kind of like clink and clink around with the sound of the rocks. Although it probably will anyway, because the rocks will probably find their way, you know, between the polyfill to the very bottom. Okay, so let's try one by adding a few of these in there. This is to form the body of our snow person, whether it's a snowman or a snow lady. And I want to weigh it down. I think it'll work. Okay, you know what, it's got a little tag thing here, so let me remove that. Okay, I think that's off. Yeah, there we go. Let's add some more of these in there, because I feel like it needs just a little more weight. Okay, let them work their way. It's not bad. It doesn't make like a really big, like a heavy clunking sound. I'm just trying to even the rocks out at the bottom so that the seam on this arm here, the sleeve, is centered. Okay, so now I just want to stuff it with more of this fiber fill. So just keep adding and make it nice and tight. But as you're doing it, also shape it, you know, so make sure that this seam that you have here, you know, the seam that would be in the sleeve down here, that is always like centered in the back. So just kind of shape it around, and you want it real tight. So just keep adding, and then you can take a couple of pieces of yarn and take some of this here. I'm gonna get a nice long piece for now. Just get one, and let me add just a little more. This is the bottom half of the body, nice and tight. You could use a rubber band. Okay, where's the string that I cut? This one right here. I'm going to take this string and I'm going to wrap it around. You could also do it with some thread, needle and thread, but I think this will work. Let's see. We're going to put this through and tie it nice and tight. And one more. Just shape it again. Okay, so now we want to do, we'll trim this off in a moment. We won't do it yet because we don't want it to unknot. If it's too short, it may come undone, and then, you know, it's going to get all, well, you won't have your nice little shape anymore. You'll have to get another string. Okay, so I'm going to get some more of this and fill in the top portion of the body. I want to make it a little smaller than the top, obviously, but I want to fill it in as tight as I possibly can. I'm going to get another piece of yarn ready here. Okay, let's keep stuffing it and making it nice and tight. And don't worry about it moving around, because we're going to put some glue here with our glue gun so it stays in place, so it doesn't, you know, flop over. Okay, so this is the top portion of the body. Okay, so now let's do a head. Look at that. Isn't that just cute? Oh my goodness. Okay, a little bit more to make that little head nice and full. And then we're going to tie that as well. And look at this cute little bit of the little cuff. I'm actually going to trim off that cuff because I would like to use it as a brim for a hat. So let me trim that off, and I might have to take some fiber fill out of the head. Okay. Yeah, let's take some out. Let's make a head here. Is that going to be good? I think that'll be good. Okay. So let me just take a little tiny bit out that's kind of in my way. Okay, so here you could do the same thing that you did at the bottom, and you could actually take your needle and thread and run it around so that you can pull it tight, you know, and gather it. Okay, so I think that's what I'm going to do to the very top. Okay, and then we're going to come back and we're going to glue these down like that, and glue this head also down like that, so that they don't flop over like that on us. Okay, because look, that's what will happen if they're not with each other. Okay, so I'll be back once I got this sewn, and then we'll start gluing this. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've built the second snowman here, and the first one I've gone ahead and I've already put glue and pressed it down and held it till it was dry, and then I did the head and held it till it was dry. It didn't take very long to do that, but let's go ahead and do that here. And of course I didn't cut these strings because I didn't want them to be too short and then the knot to get undone. So what I'm doing now is I can just put some glue on the knot area on both of them. And then I can go ahead and trim this off a little bit. The same with the one at the bottom. And then we can just push that in. And you just push it right into the glue. Okay, so I'm keeping in mind that I do have my seam right here, and this one, and then this one. So I want to make sure that they're always aligned. Okay, so first I'm going to go ahead and start putting some glue. And now I don't have to do it way down here where I want it to attach. What I mean is when I press it down, it's obviously touching right here. But I'm not putting any glue there. I'm just putting glue on the inside first, all the way around. And I'll do the same to this one. And then I'll come back and then put a little bit more further out and then hold it down. That way I allow what's in here to dry first. And I get a better bond rather than just trying to grab it on from the very edge where it might pop up again. So I'm just going to do that all the way around first on the inner part. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the same to the head, and once that's dry, then I'll let it loose. Oh, kitty, I'll be right with you. So I'll let it go, and then I'll put more glue closer to the edge there, and then I'll push it again. I'm sorry, my little kitty cat needs some attention. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I hope you understood that. So glue inside first, press it down and hold it, let that dry, and then come around and put a little bit further out and push it down again all the way around. Okay, you need some attention, everybody. I shall be back. Okay, everyone, so I've gone ahead and I've done the face on one of them so that I could practice and decide what I wanted to do. Now the little mouth, I have this stiffy black felt, and what I did is I took a strip of it, and then I used my little hole punch to punch out some little dots. Now my hole punch is probably a little bit old, a little squeaky, you can hear that. So I was having a little trouble punching them out, so I would punch as much as I could, and then I used my scissors to cut the little part where it just wouldn't cut. But I got plenty of these little dots right here. I'll put them on his little body. I got little dots right here, and now I can do her smile as well. So you just hot glue them on as I did this right there, or you can use tacky glue or fabric glue to glue that on. Let me go ahead and just get one of them and put a dot of glue on there with my hot glue gun, just like that, and then just find the center and go ahead and place one, and then you can place one on each side going up a little bit higher and further out, and then going up a little bit higher to do that, and then you can just form the little smile. I did the same with the eyes. I cut some whites and then I cut black, but I decided to cut some bigger black ones to put behind the white of the eyes so that the white would stand out. Otherwise the white would just be against this and you wouldn't be able to notice it very well. So if you put white felt on here, as you can see, it'll just drown out. So I just cut some larger black ones, like little oval shapes, and then I cut the white, and then I did more of those little dots that I used in the mouth for the center of the eye. So let me show you how I did this little nose. See how cute it is? Okay, I used orange felt for that. And all you need is a little scrap like this. And what you want to do is you want to cut like a little triangle. So off the corner here, I'm just going to cut this So it's sort of like a triangle, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this fold in from this little point, and then this guy over here, fold that in. It's not going to be, you know, aligned right here, okay? You're just going to fold it, and then you're going to fold this one other side over on top of it. And then you want to put some glue along the edge there and glue that down. So you make like a little cone, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to fold this one down. Let me get my glue gun a little bit closer here. And you have to just be really careful because, you know, it's hot, the glue gun. And just glue on down like that. If you want to do a little spot at a time, do so. Now, it's probably easier just to roll this one over onto the other half. And then you want to put some glue right at the little tip right there. And make sure that gets glued shut. Okay. And I'll just trim off that little. And then just puff it up so you have like a little cone. See how it's like a little cone? Okay, so now I'm going to trim this off so that it's not, it doesn't have those little edges, you know, the little flaps. And then just kind of round it off as much as you can to make it flat up at the top. Any little piece that's kind of loose, put a little bit of glue and then glue that down. See how I have a little cone? You can see right in there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get my glue gun and put it way deep in as much as I can and start pressing some glue. And I want to fill it in with hot glue. Okay, just fill it in as much as you can. Okay, so now we're going to let it cool off just a little bit. Let it start getting a little hard in there. But we don't want it to get too hard where we can't shape it. Because once we do that, we're going to want to bend it and kind of crinkle it a little bit. Just bend it within itself like that to give it a little bit of a shape like I did this little nose. See? And now you don't have to do that. It can be perfectly, you know, straight. I just think it adds so much character to the little nose. But we need to let it dry just a little bit more. In the meantime, I'm going to take some felt, some more of this stiffy felt, or you can just use regular felt for the eyes. And I'm just going to cut like a little rectangle and then half it. Put them together and cut some ovals for the eyes, or you can just use some googly eyes. Okay, so I'm back and I've shaped my little nose and the glue inside of it is now dry. So it's staying in that little shape. In the meantime, I went ahead and I decorated them further. I did her little face just like I had done his. And then I added these cute little buttons. I just went through my button collection and picked out some buttons. And then I cut a strip of fabric to just create the little scarf on this little snowman. And then I did the little cuttings on the edge to give it a little bit of a fringe. So there they are. Oh, and then I also pulled out a little spray of some greenery that I had. Got this at Walmart. It was like 97 cents. And then I just did two little arms on him. I thought that was really cute to do that. They didn't really need them. You could get some little sticks from outdoors and do the same with that. Okay, so I'm going to glue the nose on her now. So I'm just going to put some hot glue right here in the flat part and then just glue it right there in her face. Alright, let's get some glue on it. Right there, right in the middle. Now I was recording cutting out the little eyes and such, but my camera decided to die on me and then I had to plug in the battery to recharge it. So I'm really sorry, but let me just put it up close. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue decorating her because I want to do a top hat for him and just do like a little fluffy hat for her. For her, the cuff that I cut off the sleeves, this bit here, I want to use it for a little hat. And I want to put it on her like this. But I wanted to have a different fabric on the top. I just want this to be like the brim, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold in this inward and then hot glue it down. So it has a nice, you know, edge here on the bottom, but it also has one at the top. So I need to do that. So I'll go ahead and start putting some glue in there. I'll just do like a little bit at a time. Just fold it in. Okay, a little bit more, just this one little spot here. Okay, so now that I've folded that raw edge in, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. So I folded that in, glued it. Now I'm going to pick some fabric, and I do have this one, and I just want to cut basically a shape like this, a long piece that I can make into a circle, but I want it like a little bit taller, so like a little tube. Okay, so here's an edge. I'm just gonna compare it in size. It's got a little bit less, but I am gonna let it be a little bit longer because it's gonna overlap. I'm gonna put some glue right here because this part is not staying. Well, actually I didn't even put any glue there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is good enough. I'm going to use this one instead as a sort of a pattern. I stretch it out, and then I just have just a little bit here for gluing it over, you know, so I can make a seam in the back here. And I'm just going to make it kind of tall, and then I can shorten it if it's too much. And just cut out that piece of fabric. Okay, so now it's cut kind of crooked. Just gonna straighten it up a little bit. Okay, so then I'm gonna open it up and then fold it back in, but this is like halfway in, and then bring out the other over one, just about that 1/2 inch that I cut it, you know, a little big, where I cut it a little bigger. Let's make sure. Well, let's measure it according to this one. I want it to fit within this, so I'm gonna make it a little bit less, because it needs to fit inside. I think that's good enough. Okay, so we're going to put some glue. And it overlaps about so much. And that'll fit in there, yeah. So we want this little tube created like that, okay? I'm going to take the top part. Let's see, this is going to go in there. I'm going to take the top part and cut fringes. Okay, and I'm going to do them like about, I don't know, 1/2 inch or so. And I can trim them if it's too long. Now you don't have to do the hat like I am. You can do it different. You don't have to do all these little fringes. I just kind of want the little fringes kind of looking cute at the top of the head, you know, at the top of the hat up here. Okay, so now I'm going to glue down these edges on the inside here, right? So I want it like this. See how this fabric is in here? It's not all the way to the edge of this one. It's just coming down. It'll be about halfway down. Let me pull it up a little more. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this down to here. Gotta pull on it before yeah, there we go. Push it down. And that's cute. Okay, so now I've got a little brim on there. And this top part, I'm going to just kind of grab it like that and tie it. So I need another piece of yarn, or you can use a cute little ribbon, whatever you want to use. You know what, as a matter of fact, I have a little scrap here of some ribbon, and I'm just going to put that on the top here, and I'm just going to knot it actually, or I could use a little piece of rope. That would be cute too. And I could make it into a little bow actually, but I don't know if it's enough to make a bow. I'm going to try. Make a little bow up here. It was a very short piece, so it's not really making a really nice bow. But there we go. It kind of did make a little bow. You see that? Okay, now so that I can keep this hat from like squishing down, I am going to take a little bit of the polyfill that I used in the body of my snow lady in this case, or snow girl, and I'm going to stuff it in there. Okay, to make a little hat just like this. And now this little hat is going to go over her little head here, and we're going to glue it down. Okay, so I'm going to grab some pins because I don't want it to move on me. It's so cute. I have a brown sweater now. I wish I had cut the cuffs off the brown sweater. I want this to kind of go over her eyes a little bit. Okay. Kind of wish I had cut the cuffs off the brown sweater to give her a brown brim, but I think this looks really cute. What do you think? Look at that. So kind of I said I wanted these to go over her eyes just a little bit, like it's just kind of, you know, hovering over her little face. So I'm going to put glue first, kind of in front of the eyes and the top edge there, and I'm going to glue that down. And to keep it from moving around, I'm going to pin up a little bit higher where it's not touching the glue so the pin doesn't get glued on there. Okay, so now I can do this side over here and continue gluing the hat down all the way around, and to keep the hat from moving, just pin it down. So I'm just going to keep the pins there till the glue is dry and this won't come off. And of course, putting that little batting in here, the polyfill in here, it gives it a little fullness there, so it makes the hat look a little cuter. And then I can just, you know, try to separate these little fringes so they look a little bit nicer. If they get a little frayed, that would be awesome actually. I'm going to separate these little, I think that when you glue it, you know, when you make the little tube of fabric, when you glue it down, just glue a little bit on the bottom. Don't glue all the way up to the top, that way, you know, it'll just open up like that. I just pulled on it and it came apart, but so that wasn't any big deal. Okay, let's spread some of these other ones. Look how cute that looks. Put a little jingle bell in there. Oh, that would be so cute, a little jingle bell. As a matter of fact, I do have a little jingle bell, so I'll pull one out in a minute and put it on there so when we shake her around, she'll make that little noise. Okay, so now I want to give her a cute little scarf, but instead of cutting a strip of fabric like I did for this one to make a scarf, I kind of want to do like a triangular scarf and then have it go into these long bits to cross over, and then I want to cut like, you know, a little fringe on it too. So let's see if I can make that happen. So I think this is long enough right here, this area, but I kind of like this strip here that has this little design here. I like the little trees, but I like this more. I think that looks more like the fabric on a scarf. So I'm gonna just go ahead and cut that out, and I shall be right back. And then I'm going to fold it because I need to see how big of a little triangle do I need. I think the longest it can go is to this green line right here. Yeah, okay, so I've cut in quite a bit here. I'm going to cut in just a little bit more and then go down like that. So just measure against your little figure that you've created. Right about here, I'm going to start going down. Oh, that's my kitty cat. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to cut some fringes. So I'm going to start by cutting up the center here. And then cut, cut. My cat. What is it, kitty? Okay, you guys, I'm going to be back. I'm going to continue cutting these little fringes here. And then I'm going to cut some on the end over here. My kitty cat needs some love. It's late in the evening. I'm still doing these videos. But I want to get them out before Thanksgiving. Okay? You can be up here with me. Alright, so I've cut the little shape that I wanted, and I made little fringes on it, and then I did some little fringing on the ends here. So now we're going to put it around her. Actually, let me take these little pins off of her because this is already dry on here. So I can go ahead and unpin that. Let's see, my pin cushion is over on this side. And now we can go ahead and put this around her little neck here. So I wanted this little kind of decorative, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't cover those buttons on her either. So you can still see them. So I'm just going to cross it over like that. And then I'm just going to hot glue them down. That's all I'm going to do. Some glue over that. Bring that over. And I kind of like that it kind of goes over here on her little neck, that kind of right under her mouth. So she looks nice and bundled up. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now I'm going to take pieces from this. Take 2 little branches. And I'm going to use it for her little arms. Okay, so, and now we're going to put her little arms. And I'm going to use these cute little branches. Put some glue there. And just stick that right in there. Oh wait, the little berry that was here is going to get hidden by that fringe. So I'm going to remove that little berry. Oh, that is so cute. I like the way it makes a little scarf kind of pop open. Okay, so on this side over here, I'm going to get some glue right underneath there. Right underneath there. And then I'm going to glue this one over here. And you can see all the little berries on that. Okay. It'll be so cute to put that little berry somewhere. I'm just going to save it over here to the side. Okay. Although the fan's blowing it, so then put it on this side. Okay, so we can put away this fabric because we don't need that anymore. And we're going to go ahead now. And we're going to put a little something more on her in just a moment. But let's go ahead and get with him because he needs a hat. Look how cute they are. And he's a little bit taller. I made his head a little bit fuller so he would be a little bit taller than her. Okay, to do his hat, I'm going to be using the stiff felt. Now, you could use like fun foam, or you could use like poster board, or you could just make a hat just like hers for him. But I wanted to give him a top hat because I really do love the top hats in the Snowman. What I did is I cut a sort of a, well, I cut a square first, and then I could just kind of round it off the edges. This is to be the brim of his hat, and I just cut it so it was bigger in circumference compared to his head, okay? So that's what I did first. And then I cut a nice long strip also so that I can do the top part of the top hat and enough for it to overlap. And I just cut it in whatever height I need and longer than what I think I'm going to need to go around, okay? And then I cut another piece, kind of like a square, that's almost the same size as this circle. It could be a little bit smaller because that's going to be used up on top of here. But we're not going to cut it into a circle until we've glued that piece up here, and then we can just trim right along the edge to create the part that covers this part. Okay, so this is his hat. Now, he's got this little bit of you know, fabric right up at the top of his head. So obviously the hats can't lay really well on there because of that. So we're going to make a little hole here for that little bit of fabric to go through. So we're just going to kind of poke it. You could fold it. Let's see. I'm going to fold it, but try not to fold it too much because I don't want to cause a crease and then the hat. There we go. Just in the middle. And I'm just going to cut out from the center poke that I made so that I can see if that's a big enough hole. I'm just folding back the little flaps here. And I feel like I need to cut a little bit more. A little bit more. Let's compare. Yeah. See how this goes right through it and it fits on him? Okay, so now that we've got it on there and it fits perfectly fine, I can go ahead and decide that I need to trim it a little bit more. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to trim off about almost like 1/2 inch all the way around. So that's taking off a whole inch in the diameter. This is where I started, so okay. And I take off that much off of it. And then I'm just going to straighten it up a little bit. Not straighten it, but make it circly or round. Round it off is what I need to do. As best as I can. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Alright. And now I want it to glue down so it doesn't move. Now I could take it off and then form this part, but I've already got this through here, and it's going to be hard to get it through, you know, to pull it through when, you know, to get my hand, once I make this little round here and I put that on here, it'll be a little hard to reach in there. I don't want to mess this up and bend it and fold it. So I'm going to go ahead and build it while it's on there, on him. So I'm just going to put some glue, make sure that it attaches to him. If you want to put it a little slanted, maybe give him a little flair, a little style, do so. Okay, he's on there good. Okay, so now we need to decide on how tall we want it. That's really tall, but I kind of like that. But I am going to remove maybe an inch. Let's see, I think I need to remove maybe an inch or less, about 3/4 maybe. Use your judgment how tall you want it, how short you want it. It's probably not even straight what I just did. I punched a little hole right here, so there's a little hole there, so I'm just going to cover that up with the other end here. And I need to decide how big I need to make that. I think that's good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this end to here. But I'm not going to glue all this hole in because I'm going to trim some of it. So I'm just going to put some glue in there. Glue that part down. Got it through the little hole so it burned my finger. Okay, so I'm going to just trim off that excess. Okay, so now I can push it. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit more glue just to make sure that little edge is glued down. Okay. Once I have that, now this is the part where I have to be like really careful because I get glue everywhere. So now the next thing is to put some glue on the edge here and put it down onto our hat. But before I do, you got to bring this down so you could pretty much try and center it, okay? So I'm going to lay him down where I can see and then put glue here and try to get that glue to kind of get on that little edge as much as you can. And it's okay if it goes down the sides a little bit because we're going to cover it with ribbon. So it's okay if we get some glue on that outer, on the outer wall, like on this little edge on the outside, okay? And make sure that seam is going to the back. Oops, he could have been a little bit more this way. Okay. I can't move him anymore. That's it. He's not going to move. And I'm just going to leave him alone for a little bit, and then I'll wait till these little spider webs are dry, and then I can pull them off. Okay. So that's how we get that part on there. And see, I got some glue smeared over here because I moved it a little bit. But that's okay. We're going to cover it with ribbon. So don't worry about it. And it's in the back. Okay, so I'm just going to reach in there because there's a little spot there that didn't get any glue. And he's lifting upward. Okay, so now we're going to put the glue on this top edge. And then it doesn't matter. We don't have to worry about centering it. We just want to make sure that it gets on all of the edges. And we're going to put this on top of here. And you're going to be like, well, that looks funny. But we're going to trim it, okay? So let's get some glue. Make sure I have plenty of glue in here. Let's get some glue on this edge. And this time try not to let it drip down the outer edges. It can drip on into the inside of the hat, but try not to get it to. Try to get it so that it doesn't drip to the outside. Okay. All right, there we go. Got a little web in there, and then just put this on there. Make sure that it is overlapping all the edges. And once that's dry, we're going to go and then just start cutting around right along the side of this, and just a tiny little bit bigger. And I'm going to turn it around this way so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to start cutting. And right here it didn't glue down, so I have to glue that. Okay, I'll be right back as soon as I got it all cut along the edge. Okay, so I'm back, and I've got this ribbon here, and I've cut enough of it that goes around the whole hat, but I don't need it to be this wide. Now I have some thinner ribbons, but I don't have quite the width that I want. I have some that are very thin, so I decided to go ahead and use a piece of this ribbon, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it in half. And the width. There we go. And there we go. So now I have a smaller piece of ribbon. Now I could have cut it right from the middle, but I wanted this wire edge on the top edge there. So now I'm just going to wrap it around and then just glue it at the back and not worry about it gluing it all around, just in the back. There we go, just like that. Get all these glue webs off now. Got a little mess of glue on there as well, but we can cover that up. Okay, I've got these little pom-poms, little white tiny pom-poms. They look like little tiny little snowballs, and I've already got some here. And I don't know, here's that little red berry. I'm going to glue it to the little branch here. Yeah, we just glue it right there. Okay, so back here where I've got some glue showing, I can just take a bunch of these and glue them on and cover that up. Now, if you don't have these little red pom-poms, but let's say you have some white fabric paint or just some regular white craft paint, you can use that to just paint some little, what I would do is you do some little, maybe some little drippings with the your hot glue gun here and there, and then go in there and just with a little brush paint them white so that it just looks like snow kind of that has fallen onto his hat. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put little snow, and then I also have these little miniature little pine cones that I want to put on his hat, so I'll go ahead and do that on one of the sides here. Make a little glue blob here and just glue some pine cones right there. I've got another one over here. I'll glue a little snowball right in there, and then just do that as however much you want to put on it. I'm going to put some on the top of his hat up here too, and I'm going to put some little snowballs on our hat as well, maybe one at the tip of the branch like they're holding a little snowball and they're ready to toss it at each other. I can also put on here that same little branch that I used for the little arms. I could also put a little bit up on the top here on the hat. So let's get one of those. Let's get this one, and I'm actually going to cut off, where's my scissors? Here we go. I'm going to cut off that little chubby point, and then I'll cut it into two smaller branches. So I'll make one right here in the front like that. And that kind of you know, helps to cover the edge of the ribbon. And then this one, I want it coming out kind of towards the back and on the side of the hat there. See how cute that is? Okay, so let me get some more of these little snowballs. Put them all over. Maybe put some little pine cones on her as well. And I think that will complete our little snow couple. So I'll be right back with the completed project. Okay, Okay, so that is the end of my video. I have completed my snow couple using the thrift store sweaters. I used the sleeve part of them. They look super cute, everyone. I hope that you like my idea and that you'll be upcycling some sweaters, whether you get them from the thrift store or from your own closet. There we go, everyone. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up, and that you leave a nice comment down below and let me know what you think. Are you going to be recreating these yourself? Do you have some sweaters laying around that you can certainly use for this? Well, anyway, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you to everyone who has been subscribing. I am very overwhelmed by all the people who have been subscribing to my channel. I know a lot of you are watching some of my older videos, and that I hope that you are enjoying them. But thank you all very much for subscribing. Make sure you hit the little notification bell. I put up videos every Tuesday and every Friday. All right, everyone, make sure you share on your social medias, and as always, enjoy.